Good evening, I'm Ces Oreña-Drilon.
I'm Pauline Verzosa.
And I'm Shawn Yao.
The big stories tonight. The DILG secretary says resigned Congressman Zaldy Co now wants to talk, a development that could just move the flood control prosecution from its glacial pace.
Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman Ping Lacson slams the so-called minority report on anomalous infrastructure projects, saying it belongs in the trash can.
And later, we talk about the recent findings on the Philippine education system, which call for urgent and bolder interventions.
Meron na siyang feelers, nagpapakonect na gustong ng dialogue sa amin. Kakausapin namin yan. Pero kung bribe, ay wag na. wag na kami kausapin.
Authorities are still verifying new information. Zaldy Co wants to sit down with government officials. The resigned congressman is considered a key personality in the flood control controversy, whose probe and prosecution remain sluggish. Mobile journal Arles de los Santos with tonight's big story.
Almost 2 months since his last video drop, where he alleged a kickback scheme involving high-ranking officials and the 2026 national budget, resigned Congressman Zaldy Co has sent feelers for a dialogue with the government. At least that's according to the DILG secretary.
Meron na siyang feelers na through sa mga ibang pare na kilala niya. Not exactly, parang nagpapakonect na gustong ng dialogue sa amin. So, pero of course, that's not verified. Parang nagsabi pa lang, sinabi ng kaibigan na pinaparating.
Co has an arrest warrant for corruption and malversation of public funds from the Sandigan Bayan over the poorly constructed road dike project in Auhan Oriental, Mindoro, worth 289.5 million pesos. He is also accused of involvement in budget insertions and project kickbacks as high as 25 to 40%. According to the DILG chief, his brother, Ombudsman Boying Remulla, is willing to initiate the dialogue with Co's camp. But for now, verification is ongoing.
Alam ko lang may nagre-reach out. So, no exact personalities, wala akong pakana. Siyempre, we take them seriously. Yung gusto makapag-dialogue, kakausapin namin yan. Pero kung bribe, ay wag na. wag na kami kausapin.
Authorities still believe Co is in hiding in Portugal, which Remulla admits is not an easy matter as Portugal does not have an extradition treaty with the Philippines.
Pag before the issuance of the passport, pwede siya i-deport. Kung nasa kanya na yung passport, then he committed the crime. Then he has to be tried there. Criminal mind talaga. May escape route kaagad eh. Diba? Galing na escape route yun. Maaga pa lang Feb. 1 year na siya. Nasa na 1 year na siya abroad. Hindi nakauwi dito.
For his part, Justice Secretary Frederick Vida is yet to receive news on Co's feelers. But whether or not the dialogue will be conducted with Co, Vida says such won't affect the complaints the former ACO Bicol Party List representative is facing.
We don't weigh evidences na wala naman doon sa proseso, no? So, pag sinabi mo lang feelers, paano makaka-apekto yon, di ba? Kasi siyempre, ang pagbabasihan ng ating mga piskal, ng ating mga prosecutors, na yung pag-evaluate ng iba't ibang pira-pirasong ebidensya, ay kung ano yung sinasubmit sa kanila.
Meanwhile, former DPWH Engineer Henry Alcantara's custody has now been transferred from the Senate to the Department of Justice's Witness Protection Program. But the DOJ refused to divulge Alcantara's exact location for his protection. The Justice Chief says Alcantara will still be able to attend Senate hearings.
Whenever necessary, no? Of course, the end here is really for cooperation, no? For our witnesses. At yun nga, kaya nga sila na-admit sa program eh. Di ba? Sila ay nakikipagtulungan sa ating pamahalaan para mapatibay ang mga kaso at magkaroon ng successful na paglilitis.
Other so-called state witnesses, former DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo, former DPWH Regional Director Gerard Opolencia, and contractor Sally Santos are being strictly monitored by the DOJ.
Hindi pa po napapag-usapan kung saan sila i-house. Okay. So right now, they're at liberty to roam and to travel wherever they want. Diba? But of course, yung movement nila is strictly monitored by the WPP dahil kailangan po nila humarap eh. Diba? Kailangan po nila humarap bilang state witness eventually once trial commences.
Preliminary investigation is also ongoing on other complaints in connection to the flood control scandal. One of the respondents, Senator Joel Villanueva, was permitted more time to file his counter-affidavit. And the DOJ is soon to release subpoenas for former DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoan and Senator Jingoy Estrada. Kapatid Arles de los Santos, we are One News.
Meantime, Senate President pro tempore Panfilo Lacson criticized the so-called minority report on the investigation into flood control project anomalies. Lacson said the report presented by Senators Amy Marcos and Rodante Marcoleta belonged in the trash because it carried no weight under Senate rules. The release of the unofficial findings, Senator Ping said, is a disrespect to the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee and the entire upper chamber as an institution. Lacson also urged Marcos and Marcoleta to review Senate rules, which state that only a committee report approved by the majority may be officially taken up in plenary. The 576-page minority report was first submitted to the Office of the Senate President in December 2025 before being released to the media. It was signed by minority senators, most of whom are allies of the Duterte family. The report took a swipe at the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee for its supposed failure to follow critical leads, including the alleged involvement of former House Speaker Martin Romualdez in corrupt flood contracts. It also absolved minority senators Jingoy Estrada and Chis Escudero in the infrastructure scandal. Senate President Tito Soto has since dismissed the minority report as it did not follow proper procedure, calling it a mere media report. Our sister show StoryCon also spoke with Senator Lacson this afternoon, and here's a part of what he said.
Na tama yung ginawa niya, ni-refer sa akin. Ngayon, anong gagawin ko doon? Anong disposition? Trust can. May mga bitter eh. Hindi matanggap na hindi na sila nasa majority. They cannot move on.
And now in other news, Vice President Sara Duterte faces a new set of plunder and graft complaints over her alleged confidential funds misuse. The fresh charges were filed by former Senator Sonny Trillanes and civil society organization called the Silent Majority before the Ombudsman today. This new filing encompasses alleged anomalies during Duterte's tenure as Secretary of the Education Department and as Mayor of Davao City, including allegations of receiving funds from personalities linked to the illegal drug trade. Among the allegations against the Vice President are plunder and malversation of 650 million pesos in confidential DepEd funds, plunder and malversation of 2.7 million pesos of Davao City confidential funds, graft and malversation for 8 billion pesos worth of overpriced DepEd laptops, graft and gross incompetence due to the 12 billion peso commission and audit disallowances in DepEd, and graft over 7 billion pesos in unliquidated cash advances still in the Department of Education. The complaints also took note of Ramil Madriaga's affidavit submitted to the Office of the Ombudsman in December. Madriaga, who claims to be Duterte's aide and bagman, alleged the VP was involved in the misuse of confidential funds and money coming from Philippine offshore gaming operators. And this latest complaint against Duterte comes after the filing of a confidential funds-related charge against her last month.
Dahil nung December, yung final na plunder case, nakafocus lang dun sa 650 million pesos na confidential funds. Ito, final namin yung mga confidential funds na 2.7 billion pesos na winaldas din ni Sara Duterte nung siya ay mayor pa. At among others, yung mga inilahad nga kanina. At sinama rin natin dito yung ill-gotten wealth niya na mahigit 2 billion pesos na ito ay nadiskubre ng inyong lingkod noong 2016 pa at hanggang ngayon iniiwasan nila yung issues. Then yung kanilang pagtanggap ng mga dividendo galing sa isang drug lord na lalabas din ito once mabuksan yung mga bank accounts ni Sara Duterte.
There is still no reaction from the Vice President on this complaint, but in previous statements, Duterte has denied any wrongdoing and called the charges a fishing expedition. Meanwhile, the Bagong Alyansang Makabayan is set to file on Thursday, January 22, a second impeachment complaint against President Bongbong Marcos, accusing him of betrayal of public trust in connection with the national budget and the multi-billion peso flood control scandal. 3 lawmakers from the Makabayan bloc are expected to endorse the complaint. Just last Monday, lawyer Andre De Jesus filed an impeachment complaint against President Marcos. And that document has already been transmitted to the Speaker's office as of today. Now, tomorrow's filing is also quite crucial because once the first charge is referred to the House Committee on Justice and deemed initiated, any subsequent impeachment complaint will be barred for 1 year. Critics of the first impeachment complaint have described it as weak and is allegedly intended to shield the president.
The president facing impeachment, the vice president facing criminal charges and impeachment by February, and relatively still no big fish jailed over the flood control scandal. What do we make of these developments? And joining us tonight is our resident political insider, Ronald Llamas, to help us make sense of what's going on. Good evening to you, Ronald.
Good evening, Ces, Shawn and Pauline. Long time no see.
Happy New Year!
Oo nga, New Year pa tayo nag-usap nun. New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah. So now, the House of Congress by February will face the unique position of having to address impeachment complaints of the top officials of the land. Will they, ano sa tingin mo? Paano babalansehin ito?
Well, una, ang tanong dyan ay ano bang rules ang susundin? Yung lumang rules for impeachment o yung bago na ginawa ni Marvic Leonen representing the Supreme Court at pinagbotohan ng Supreme Court? Pero wala pang final na decision dun sa motion for reconsideration ng Congress. So final na ba yung kanilang desisyon? Mukhang hindi pa. Pero I doubt kung hindi susundin ng mga abogado at ng mga congressman yung desisyon ng Supreme Court led by Marvic Leonen. Kaya most probably, yung bagong rule sa impeachment ang masusunod. Nagdag ng mga 6 o 7 new rules para sa proseso ng impeachment. Yun yung una. Yung ikalawa ay ano ba yung ipa-file na articles of impeachment? Tama yung sabi mo, Ces, malamang ay both the President at saka yung Vice President ay may maghain ng articles of impeachment. Yung sa Vice President before February 6. At Presidente, naiahin na. Pero for now, at least yung naihain na impeachment case laban sa Presidente, parang mahina. Pero mo, pati yung kidnapping ni Digong ng ICC ay kasama. Tapos yung luma ng nilalabas nila Harry Roque, yung pulburon video, ay isinama pa uli. So I doubt kung magpo-prosper yon yung klaseng impeachment. Pero at the same time, ang initial statements ng House, especially si Deputy Speaker Rolly Puno, ay hindi kami interesado sa impeachment. Para sa amin, wala itong saysay. At most, ay aabot lang ito sa Justice Committee. Ibig sabihin nun, definitely, iba itong impeachment na ito doon sa impeachment last year na nakakuha ng almost 260 signatures.
Pero, if I may interrupt you, Ronald, kasi parang hypocritical kung umusad. Of course, I'm getting ahead of the story. No? Kung umusad ang impeachment complaint against VP Sara, like you said, last year, tapos yung isang mas malaking pera ang involved, mas malaking corruption ay isasantabi.
Well, depende kasi dahil kailangan mong patunayan na nakalink itong corruption na ito sa presidente. No, yun yung halimbawa, yung sa Vice President kasi, very concrete 120 million in 11 days. No? Notice of disallowance ng COA dun sa mga DepEd funds. No? Kanyang conduct bilang mayor ng Davao City. So very, very concrete. So far, wala namang ganung konkreto. Ang lumalabas, culpability. Ang lumalabas, responsibility. Kailangan mo ng smoking gun. Kailangan mo ng something concrete.
Okay, well,
Hindi sabi na hindi mangyayari yun. Dahil may ipafile yata tomorrow ang Makabayan Block.
Tignan natin kung paano ililink.
Yes. Pero hindi pwedeng generic.
Right. But at the same time, I know I'm getting ahead of the story, pero parang walang moral ascendancy ang majority, the people the politicians who control the House, if they will just zero in on one public official like VP Sara and have the president get off scot-free.
Well, again, depende nga sa ipa-file. Ikalawa, alam pa natin, hindi naman legal lang ang impeachment. It's political.
Yeah.
Ba? At sa ngayon, karamihan sa mga kongresista ay kaalyado ng presidente. So yun yung reality. Morality, I doubt kung magiging basis yan ng mga kongresista. No? Baka mas optimistic ka kaysa sa akin, no? Tungkol sa morality ng mga politiko natin.
Moral ascendancy. Wala din.
let's talk about appetite, no? Ronald, what do you think? May appetite pa ba for impeachment, no? For Vice President Sara Duterte naman, kasi malapit na mag-Feb 6. Would you say may appetite pa rin? Or kaya ba nag-file na lang sa ombudsman? Using what seems like, to me at least, yan yung mga laman ng unang slew of impeachment complaints against the Vice President last year.
Well, tingin ko dalawa yung naka-file, di ba? Yung plunder sa ombudsman at saka malamang itong impeachment ng Vice President na ipa-file before February 6. So malamang dalawa. Yung sa plunder kasi, panigurado yan eh. Ibig sabihin, kahit hindi mag-prosper yung impeachment, ay pwedeng gamitin yung plunder case para ipakita yung ebidensya na hindi maipapakita kung papatayin yung impeachment. So halimbawa, yung pagbukas ng mga bank accounts ng Vice President ng AMLA o yung iba pang mga ebidensya tungkol dito sa plunder. So pwede siyang lumabas. Kumbaga insurance siya kung hindi magpo-prosper yung impeachment. Ngayon, magpo-prosper ba yung impeachment? May chance. Pero hindi yan yung 260 signatures last year. No? Dahil 104 lang naman ang kailangan eh. Yung 1/3. Diba? Pero halos sigurado ko hindi yan ganun karami. Pero whether maabot ba yung 1/3, feasible pa rin. Dahil meron pa pang 2.5 years eh. Kung didikta ng presidente yung impeachment ng Vice President, kayang kunin yung 1/3. Kahit walang moral ascendancy.
Okay, balik tayo doon. Gusto kong ibalik. Dilemma rin ito ng ombudsman eh. Kasi anong unahin niya? Hindi pa siya matapos-tapos dito sa flood control. Wala pang big fish na nakakasuhan from his office. And then uunahin yung kay VP Sara.
Okay, dugtungan ko lang
Isn't that a dilemma?
May mga iba na nagsasabi, baka itong bagong sarsuela is to distract from the flood control issue. Siyempre, anong assessment mo?
I doubt kung magiging feasible yung para makalimutan yung flood control. Yan ay hindi mawawala sa consciousness ng tao, especially sa panahon ng social media. Ipapaalala at ipapaalala yan. Kaya nga nagmamadali sila eh. Bong Revilla, tapos ngayon, finailan na si Joel Villanueva. I'm almost sure, pa-filean si Jingo Estrada. Hindi ko sigurado kung pa-filean pa si
Cheese Escudero. Bakit ka hindi sigurado? Wait. Tapusin mo yung thought mo. Bakit hindi sigurado?
Well, depende kasi kung yung kanyang firewall, si Ngu, ay aamin. Di ba? Paano? Ang sabi kasi ni Yusek Bernardo, nag-uusap sila ni Cheese Escudero, pero ang kumuha ng pera ay si Ngu. Parang lumalabas yun yung kanyang bagman. Di ba? Magsasalita ba yun? Hindi ko sigurado. Yun yung ibig ko sabihin. Pero the very fact na tinanggap ng DOJ si Bernardo, si Alcantara, si Opulencia, etc. as state witness. Witness protection. Ibig sabihin, siseryosohin nila at gagamitin nila yung testimony nitong mga ito. At yung testimony ng mga ito ay idilidiin si Cheese, si Jinggoy, si Mark Villar, si Grace Po, si Nancy Binay, si Sani Angara, etc.
Kaya
There will be-
inuna na yung minority report. Ganun.
Oo. Well, sabi ni Ping, wala daw basihan yung minority report na yan. No? Yung minority kasi gumawa ng report na basically attacking the Blue Ribbon, karamihan doon sa na link sa corruption ay sa minority. Kaya medyo kulang sa, anong tawag mo? Moral tendency. No?
But
Kung yun ang
Ronald-
ito yan, no?
I wanted to get your assessment din dun sa direksyon na tinatahak na ngayon ng flood control investigation. Do you think, in a way, parang nalilihis din tayo doon sa talagang big fish na tinutukoy dito sa flood control scam? Are you getting the sense na may attempt din to cover up certain personalities?
I'm not sure do sa cover-up, pero ang sigurado ko, bibilisan na yan. Dahil sasabog yan sa mukha ng presidente at saka ng gobyerno. Kung yung kanilang pinrumisa last month ay hindi nila madideliver dito sa next 2 months o first quarter ng taon. Nagkuha kasi sila nag-overpromise at saka nag-underdeliver last month. At yung pagbaba ng approval rating ng presidente nakaugnay dito. Kung makikita nyo lahat ng survey, inuugnay itong corruption na ito sa presidente kahit siya yung naglunsad nung mahiya naman kayo campaign. Bakit? Dahil wala pa kasing nakukulong o nakakasuhan na big fish. Kaya they have to do that now. No? Hindi, natatamaan yung presidente at kung hindi sila maingat, baka mag-free fall yung kanyang negative 3.
So, nakanino ang bola ngayon, Ronald? Kasi ang ICI, rumored about to hindi magra-wrap up na rin daw sila. And ang Blue Ribbon Committee, hindi rin sigurado kung magkakaroon pa sila ng isang hearing. Most likely, magsasabit na lang daw ng report. Would you say nasa kamay na ngayon ni Ombudsman Boying Remulla talaga yung magiging resulta nitong flood control investigation?
Definitely. Mismo yung presidente ay nagpahiwatig na parang pasara na itong ICI. Na dati pa namang sinasabi. Ang hirap kasi makipag-usap sa sarili mo kung ikaw na lang natitira sa ICI. Ang hirap magkaroon ng quorum of one. No? At alam ko, mismo si Justice Reyes ay hindi na pumapasok. Kaya more or less ay pa-fold up na yan. So ang burden nasa Ombudsman at saka Sandigan Bayan na.
Yep.
No?
Which
Lalo
brings
na,
me...
nailabas na yung mga dapat kasuhan.
Oo. Pero yun nga, yung dilema ni Boying Remulla, Ombudsman Boying Remulla, paano balansehin? Although he did say he will go where the evidence will lead him, pero ito ngang merong nakafile ng 2 kaso laban kay VP Sara. Tapos ang dami-dami niyang kailangan kasuhan sa flood control scam.
Well, nag-multiply din naman siya ng mga staffing. No? Ang sabi nga niya ay baka mag-hire siya ng additional 200 lawyers at maraming consultant. Kaya ang sinasabi niya, ang positive ngayon, ang daming mga nag-a-apply sa ombudsman na hindi pa nangyari before. So tingin ko ay kaya naman niyang tugunan yung hamon sa ombudsman at this point, no? At dahil nga dito sa political crisis ay talagang tingin ko malaki yung hamon sa kanya na gawin lahat at the same time, no? Of course, iba yung impeachment, iba yung mangyayari diyan, no? Kaya tingin ko in the next few months either makakita tayo ng mga big fish, senador, kongresista, cabinet secretary na makakasuhan at makukulong or magda-downwards
Spiral.
yung approval rating ng presidente. At sabi ko nga, 2028 will be decided in 2026.
Okay, but before I let you go, what do you make of DILG John Vic Remulla's disclosure na nagre-reach out na itong si Zaldy Co?
Ang hirap nung kanyang sinabi na disclosure dahil sabi ng kaibigan sa isang kaibigan na sinabi sa kanya.
Oo nga eh. Oo.
Medyo kulang yung disclosure na sinasabi niya. At ang sabi niya, ang gustong kausapin ay yung simbahan. No? Hindi ko sigurado kung sila talaga yung kakausapin. Pero medyo nag-backpedal siya ng kaunti. Kaya ano ba talaga? Hindi ko sure. Hindi ko sure. Wala namang masyadong magagawa si Zaldy Co kung hindi bumalik dito or gumawa ng legal affidavit or both. Habang wala yon, ay walang basihan yung kanyang testimony na kahit isang sentimo, wala siyang nakuha.
Okay. Abangan ang susunod na kabanata. Thank you for sharing your insights with us, political insider Ronald Llamas.
Salamat din.
We're just gonna take a quick break, but coming up, today, Senator Bato de la Rosa turns 64, and he has a message to both supporters and critics who are wondering where he is. The details when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
You're watching the big story here on One News. First, they painted a dire picture of the quality of Filipino graduates and students. And now, the Philippine Institute for Development Studies and the Second Congressional Commission on Education unveil a critical reason behind learners dropping out before finishing high school. The new PIES study revealed that nearly 4 out of 10 Filipino children experience violence from their parents at age 10. The victims were half as likely to be enrolled in school by age 14 compared to their peers who did not experience abuse. This finding underscores an education crisis that does not begin in schools. And to address this, the study recommends interventions that extend beyond the classroom and into the home, citing the potential of the DSWD's Parent Effectiveness Service or PES and the Evidence-Based Parenting for Lifelong Health Program, locally adapted as Masayang Pamilya or MAPA. Now let's talk about the state of Philippine public education with Pasig Representative Roman Romulo. He is co-chairperson of the Second Congressional Commission on Education or EDCOM-2 and chair of the House Committee on Basic Education and Culture. Good evening and thank you for joining us, Congressman Romulo.
Yes, good evening, Ces, Shawn, Pauline. Good evening to everyone.
Well, we salute the effort you are doing, but you always deliver bad news. Tell us the bad news.
Well, if you're referring to first yung results of the proficiency test based on the assessments, it's a grade 6, 3, 6, 10, and 12. I think that should be contextualized. Because when we talk about the proficiency rate, wherein I think EDCOM2 mentioned that based on assessment reports, from grade 3 to 12, we start at 30% proficiency, but by grade 12, we're down to 0.5% proficiency. But to contextualize it, when you take a look at the years when this was taken, example, the ELNA for grade 3, where we scored 30%, that was taken 2024 or 2023 to 2024. That means they entered grade 1 about 2020 to 2021. And if you recall, that was after all the issue came up about the 2018 PISA result kung saan halos last place tayo. Because of that, reforms were instituted. And primary in this reform was really the reduction of competencies, the reduction of subjects. And nakita natin, 30% proficiency. But when you compare the champions sa grade 12, no, that was taken in 2024, 0.5%, di ba? Pero bilangin mo naman, you have to go back 10 years siguro when they were in grade 3. And at that time, wala pa yung reforms.
So, ibig sabihin, may improvement ng nakikita bahagya dun sa
Nakita
grade
natin.
3.
Yes, hita natin, the reforms may be working. But you have to take a look at this with the latest survey released yesterday by the PIDS, the PIDS,
Yes.
wherein they took a look at the new curriculum of senior high school, both K to 12, wherein sa grades 1, 2, 3, binawasan natin ang subjects because dati, under the K to 12 program, by the time you reach grade 3, you had about 9 subjects. But after the reforms, binawasan na po natin yan to maximum of 6 subjects by grade 3. 5 to 6. So, na-decongest yung curriculum. It became easy, focus na siya on reading comprehension, mathematics, and by grade 3, may science na. And even the load of teachers should have improved because nabawasan natin ang subjects. And makita natin, there was based on the study, malaki yung improvement nung reduce yung subjects. Kasama na rin yung sa senior high school. Because currently sa senior high school, we have 15 core and 16 electives. This year, nag-pilot na sila ng bagong curriculum, the one that we were always mentioning before, na binaba na natin to 5 core subjects na lang.
Okay.
And they also took a look at that, nag-improve na rin. Of course, mas malaking improvement lagi do sa Key Stage 1, grades 1 to 3, kasi bago pa lang naman yung senior high school new curriculum, but there's a marked increase of improvement already. So, I guess, tama naman, alam natin kung na hindi maganda yung performance, but if we contextualize it, nakikita natin that the reforms after 2020 or 2019, they seem to be working.
Okay.
And just have to hone on this, again, focus on this and make sure that we fix the little issues.
So you're saying we're not seeing the good impact that's happening, even if it's only slight. But just the same, Congressman, a disturbing study also by the PIDS about violence in the home.
Yeah.
And its effect on the learning and the performance of students in school. So
Yeah.
how do we address this?
Again, that has been identified. Actually, matagal na natin alam yung issue na ito. And we all know that really, the problem is not really just in the school, but it goes back to the neighborhood, the community, the homes. If you remember, I think in one of my guestings with you also, na-mention ko na meron tayong a lifelong learning bill that we wanted to pass so that local governments can now also focus on families. Meaning, pwede na silang gumawa ng mga programs para maturuan yung mga magulang first on pwedeng literacy. Second, pwede yung to discuss these problems. And that bill has already passed into law. So meron na tayong Lifelong Learning Act wherein we allow the local government units to use all their different funds, whether SCF, regular funds, the GAD funds, in order to be able to introduce programs for those individuals out of school already, even beyond even senior citizens. Kasi talagang yung problema nag-uumpisa talaga, alam natin, sa community, sa bahay. Because nandun talaga yung unang training ng bata about good manners and right conduct. Together with this, if you recall, we also passed in 2020 the new GMRC law, wherein we mandated the Department of Education to reintroduce the subject good manners and right conduct as a subject from grades 1 to 6. So hopefully, with these twin things, we will be able to assist the parents, guide them properly, tell them kung ano yung problema sa ano yung nadaanan nila, and kung paano makatulong ang gobyerno. Kasi talagang it's a whole of community approach. That is why, tama rin yung sa DSWD because they have some funding on that. But I think now with the new education laws, we can also use this in order to help our families.
Okay. So on the EDCOM website, Congressman Roman, no, may mga teaser kung anong lalabas dun sa EDCOM report come Monday, January 26. One of the things though na finlag nila is yung sustainability nitong K-10 or yung matatag curriculum that you're saying. Sabi nga, sustainable gains were actually seen, no, sa grade 2 students. Pero finlag nila yung risks sa mga teachers naman. That they had a hard time adjusting, although mas maganda nga yung curriculum and they're able to connect with their students more. What are we doing to address naman on the teacher side, on the educator side, to help them, adjust and improve their efficiency?
Yes. If you recall, meron din tayong bagong NEAP, the National Educators Academy of the Philippines. Sila actually ang tumutulong sa teacher training, meaning talagang regular improvement, talaga leveling up of teachers, including pedagogical approaches. Kasi yung pagturo, katulad example, tama yung nabanggit ninyo, yung curriculum, binawasan natin ang competencies, binawasan rin natin ang subjects. But according to the Department of Education in the committee meeting yesterday, isa sa issues pa rin nila, because na-flag ng PIDS yan, yung PIDS, they're saying that, sabi ng teachers, you reduce the number of subjects, pero per subject reduced, yung dating 3 subject, pinagsama nyo lahat ng competencies in 1 subject. So pareho lang. Yun yung point ng ibang teachers based on the PIDS study. Sabi ng DepEd, they've already encountered that issue, and it's really partly pedagogical and partly sub-content issue kasi meron competency na may mention. Some teachers still believe na yung 1 competency na yun, kailangan pa rin yung maturo ng 3 competencies. Sabi ng DepEd, hindi na. But then, they recognize the fact that maybe kulang yung information, kulang yung communication nila on how to approach or teach each of these competencies. We don't have to go to yung dating 3, 5 competencies na hindi naman raw nila kinolapse ng into 1. There was a reason for that, and it's really a matter of communicating it properly with the teachers. And DepEd, according to them yesterday, they know the problem, they're on top of it, and they will start consulting again and communicating with the teachers.
With the budget passed for 2026, Congressman, happy ba kayo sa nakuha? Kasi syempre maraming argument dyan, hindi naman daw yan yung full basic education budget, yada-yada. The arguments there. But are we gonna see more classrooms, more teachers, para mabawasan na yung 3 shifts, ganyan?
Yes. Actually, everyone is happy with the budget that was given. Talagang it's the biggest budget. But I always remind everybody na the budget is just one component. Kasi yung importante, yung absorptive capacity rin ng ating agencies. Example, when you talk about teachers, I think EDCOM2 flagged an issue really is that, and this is also flagged by PIDS, maaaring may teachers ka sa junior high school kasi, may specialized classes na doon, di ba? Meaning, the teacher really specialized on a certain subject. Yun yung tinuturo niya dapat. Pero about 60 to 70% of teachers in this level actually are teaching subjects that they did not, that they were not trained, that they did not get the proper training during their college years. May mismatch on the subject. So it's not a matter of just simply having a bigger budget and hiring teachers, because kung hindi rin tama yung subject na tinuturo niya, hindi rin mali-level up o mati-train for the new approaches, for the new content, baliwala rin. So that's one example. The second example is classroom shortage. Let's face reality, isang problema naman talaga is buildable space. So kahit may pondo, wala namang buildable space, how will you be able to build more classrooms? That is why ang sagot namin dyan is the voucher system, the expansion of the voucher system from the current grade 7 to 10, then 11 and 12, to the full complement of K to 6 na tayo. But let us let us rationalize it. Hindi naman lahat ng private schools automatic pwede makakuha ng voucher. Kailangan, una, may quality. And that quality will be tested by assessment exams on private schools who wish to avail of vouchers. Pangalawa, dapat the original intent, which congested ang isang DepEd school, dapat may malapit na quality private school. That is where we are able to enroll them. Sa teachers pala, no, meron na rin naman recommendation ng EDCOM 2 doon. And that is first, yung sa NEA for leveling up. Kasi kailangan naman ng continuing education talaga, no, even for teachers, because there are new approaches, may bagong substance or content that they should know. And kung may issue sila, that should be threshed out by NEA. Plus, we have already recommended to the higher education, to CHED, na kailangan na rin yung courses in college, medyo palawakin na natin. Hindi naman pwedeng too general. Because at one point, we need teachers who specialize in certain subjects.
Congressman, pagdating naman po doon sa grading system, PIDS suggests that the current 75% passing rate is too high daw. But there are also concerns that grade transmutation does more harm than good in a sense na yung mga hindi naman talaga pasado, pumapasa pa rin kahit nabagsak naman daw talaga sila. How do we find the right balance there, Congressman?
Sa akin, Shawn, again, that's an issue, but that's not a major issue that there is a bigger issue than the grading system. And the bigger issue really is because of the congested curriculum that we have, that we are now trying to trim down, sa totoo, marami talagang estudyante marunong magbasa, pero hindi sila grade level ready. Meaning, they can be in grade 7, pero yung reading comprehension nila probably is in grade 3. So, and that is the result of the NAT, the LNA, di ba? Yun ang makikita mo eh. Yung not proficient, medyo mataas pa talaga. So, sa akin, before we trouble ourselves with the grading system, ang pinaka-importante talaga is to, first of all, may aral program tayo ngayon, but we should, again, adjust that. Kasi what is the use of the aral program, which is an hour after the regular classes, when, kunyari, you have a grade 5 student, reading comprehension, pero yung grade level readiness niya for reading comprehension is grade 1. Pero he or she is in that grade 5 class. So papaupuin mo siya doon ng 50 minutes, 55 minutes na hindi niya naintindihan. I think that is torture eh. Hindi pa yun. Papastay mo pa siya ng 1 hour after the regular classes para turuan, para makakatch up siya. Ang sinasabi ko, maybe it is time to be more creative and probably we have naman yung beginning of school year assessment. Pag na-determine natin doon na merong hindi grade level ready, we should make a class for ano yung grade level sila and help them na maka-catch up sila without any retention policy first. Meaning, hindi Manila kasalanan.
Okay.
It was system. But then, kailangan natin sila pahabulin during the regular class hours. I think that is the bigger issue really is for DepEd to decide ano ang gagawin natin dun sa yung nasampulan ng nung EDCOM 2 na 70% hindi proficient. Yung more than 90% di proficient. Hindi sapat talaga yung 1 hour later or let's think of retaining them. Kasi one issue talaga is if we start retaining students na hindi naman nila kasalanan what happened, ang problema nga natin is the out-of-school youth also, the numbers are growing.
Yeah.
So we make it to, we have to help them within the academic, within the school itself.
All right. One final question for you, Congressman. Your assessment for the K-12 program, ano pa bang pwedeng ma-improve?
Yes, sa akin I think the direction is towards the right direction na bawasan natin ang subjects, focusing on functional literacy, meaning reading comprehension, grade level appropriate, mathematics, science, GMRC. The rest, katulad sa grades 11 and 12, siguro mas maraming electives na lang. Kasi kunyari, at least you have the 5 core subjects which is really focused on reading comprehension, math, science. Yung iba electives na para kung yung bata, yung learner, ang hilig niya, history. Let's have various history electives. So mahone siya doon. Kung gusto niya, music. Let's try to have more music electives. Kung mathematics, more mathematics. Pero at least, gusto ng bata yung pinapasukan. Kasi elective niya yun eh. So gusto niya yung subject na interested siya at he or she will develop himself or herself much better than pino-force natin ng mga subjects na mandatory na nakita natin, hindi naman naging effective.
All right, so I guess we just have to be patient. It's working, but it will take time. So we thank you so much for talking to us, Congressman Roman Romo.
Thank you.
In the meantime, here are the other big stories this midweek. Today, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa broke his silence and on his 64th birthday yet. He says he is alive and well and waiting for justice. That's after being absent from the Senate for nearly 2 months. In a statement posted on the Senate website, De La Rosa spoke amid persistent rumors that he could be next to face an arrest warrant from the International Criminal Court. I am waiting, the senator said, calling for, quote, a true seeking of justice and rejecting what he described as fake and foreign meddling. He stressed if cases are filed against him, he wants to face them before Filipinos. He also questioned critics eager to surrender a fellow Filipino to foreigners. The senator ended his message by thanking his supporters. Meanwhile, Cavite Congressman Kiko Barsaga is facing a fresh cyber libel complaint, this time from Manila 2nd District Representative Rolando Valeriano. The case stems from Barsaga's January 9 Facebook post alleging that National Unity Party lawmakers received bribes from tycoon Enrique Razon. Valeriano called the accusation an institutional attack, adding that other NUP members are pursuing legal action. This is the third cyber libel case against Barsaga, following earlier complaints filed by Razon and House Deputy Speaker Ronnie Puno. In another development, China's new ambassador to the Philippines, Ching Chuan, has defended Beijing against what he called groundless attacks. Ambassador Ching urged for diplomatic talks to manage tensions in the South China Sea, adding the Philippines does not need to choose sides between China and the U.S. The statement comes after Beijing filed a diplomatic protest against Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson Commodore J. Tariela, over an alleged caricature of President Xi Jinping used in a presentation.
The option is to sit down for talks and solutions in a diplomatic way. So at present, our diplomats from the two sides, they're working very hard toward this goal. And I have already reached some consensus on a roadmap for the next stage dialogue and negotiation.
And shifting now to sports, Team Philippines is off to a strong start at the 13th ASEAN Para Games in Thailand, bagging medals across multiple events. And for the latest from the ground, we're joined live by mobile journalist Denise Valdesancho. Hi Denise, so how is Team Philippines shaping up so far and who's leading the medal tally at this point?
Pauline, it's golden here for the Philippines at the 13th ASEAN Para Games in Nakhon Ratchasima, Thailand. John Jairo Palermo soars to victory, claiming gold in the men's long jump 220 at the 13th ASEAN Para Games. And Palermo landed a 6.89-meter jump at the 88th birthday stadium here, edging Malaysia by just 0.03 meters. Earlier in the competition, Team Philippines struck gold for the first time in these ASEAN Para Games, with Paralympic swimmer Gary Bahino delivering the country's opening gold. Bahino set a new games record in the men's 400-meter freestyle as clocking 5 minutes and 32.08 seconds, his fourth career ASEAN Para Games gold. Philippines women continued to shine as Ernie Gawilan added another gold in the men's 400-meter freestyle S7, marking his 10th overall ASEAN Para Games title, and make that 3 golds for the Philippines on day 1 of the Paris swimming, as Paris Paralympian Angel Autumn took the top podium in the women's 50-meter backstroke escort S5, finishing strong with a time of 47.29 seconds. With these results, Team Philippines now ranks 4th in the overall medal standings, while we still have Thailand at the first rank with 54 medals in total. In other events, Maridol Kamatyan secured silver in women's para powerlifting, while bronze medals came from Indonesia, Esnada, and paracyclist Michael Bayani. The Philippines also earned back-to-back silver medals in men's and women's 3x3 wheelchair basketball, a historic first-ever podium finish for Filipinas Lady Warriors. Pauline, the Philippines continues its medal push here at the 13th ASEAN Para Games as we await the awarding of the athletics events. Back to you.
All right, well, thank you very much for that update. That was mobile journalist Denise Valdesancho there reporting to us live from Thailand.
And before we go, 4 Filipino theater stars share one iconic stage as Les Miserables returns to Manila. News 5's MJ Marfori has that story.
Not one, not two, but 4 Filipino theater greats take center stage in the return of one of the world's top musicals, Les Miserables. Here is Red Concepcion taking on the role of Thénardier, Emily Bautista as Eponine, Rachel Ann Go makes her return as Fantine, and the one and only Tony and Olivier award-winning actress and theater legend Lea Salonga as Madame Thénardier. All of them have worked together before in several Broadway shows and other projects, like Emily, who previously worked with Lea on the Pretty Little Liars reboot. As for Rachel Ann, she says Lea is one of her biggest influences and was even one of the people who encouraged her to audition for Miss Saigon years ago. Before, they say they often felt like solo flights as Filipinos in international productions. Now, it feels different. They say it feels more like home no matter what country they are in, as more Filipino theater stars continue to shine on the global stage.
So parang feeling ko outcast ako. Ngayon, ang dami na namin, di ba? So nakaka-proud. Ayun, ang daming chikahan.
For Lea, this run of Les Miserables is extra special as she gets to perform for Filipino fans.
I just think it's crazy to be doing this, but it's so fun and wonderful to do this here.
While Lea is busy with the show, her child Nick Chan is also busy with his own musical. Lea shared that she is giving her full support to Nick, who is currently undergoing transition. Nick reportedly started testosterone therapy last March.
I just want a happy kid, you know, somebody who feels, because the dysphoria was a lot, and it was a lot to deal with, and it was really affecting his mental health.
Lea also shared that she and her husband are now separated, but he continues to give full support to their child. And even with her busy schedule, Lea remains present for Nick.
Thankfully, the dad and dad's partner are the ones kind of, may sipon ka? Here, let's send you food. Let's make sure that you're well. So, yes.
Galing.
So yes, it's not a secret. We've been separated for a while, and now he's happy. And I'm happy that he's happy.
Catch Lea Salonga in Les Miserables at the theater at Soler until March 1. MJ Marfori, we are One News.
One of my favorites, Les Miserables.
So you're going to catch this one for
I'm not
sure.
sure. I didn't, actually, you know what? The older I get, the more parang out of tune I am. I don't know, parang, may ganito pala, may ganyan pala. So thank you, MJ, for letting us know. Maybe there's time. Pawi, have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. Maybe
She needs to see it.
Okay, someone has to take you up. But he isn't here.
Hiritan ko siya in like 1 minute.
Okay, and that will do it for us here on The Big Story this midweek. Thank you very much for watching.
We're back here tomorrow at 8 p.m. We'll see you then.
Kapatid, we are One News, all sides, all the time. Have a good night.